This video is not any typical documentary that you would see from Project Shivoham. I will cut it under 5 minutes. Just one important fact, and that's about it. Bhaktiar Khilji destroyed Nalanda University and burnt it down to ashes. Same thing he did with Vikramshila University as well. These facts, even a school-going kid would know, because that's what we are fed in our textbooks. Let's get out of our textbooks, and for the next couple of minutes, let's try to understand certain hidden facts about Nalanda and Assam. Sounds strange, but stay with me. Here is a plaque from the Nalanda site itself. Pause it and read it if you want. Well, this gives you the first-hand information unadulterated. At the very least, a better and reliable source than our history textbooks. This plaque is placed by the Archaeological Survey of India in Nalanda University. Let me do a quick crash course on Nalanda. This place, Nalanda, is the birthplace of Sariputra, direct disciple of Gautam Buddha, born in 600 BC. So he lived beside Gautam Buddha as a disciple. And that is the reason why this location Nalanda is quite significant in the Buddhist traditions. In fact, the name Bihar comes from Vihara, which means monastery in Buddhist traditions. Nalanda University was established by Kumaragupta in the year 413 to 455 CE, in and around that period. Nalanda has been an international learning hub of theology, metaphysics, logic, astronomy, mathematics, medicine, philosophy. Like this, a wide range of subjects have been researched, taught, and preserved in the Nalanda University. Contrary to the popular understanding about the destruction of Nalanda, Bhaktiar Khilji is not the first one to attack Nalanda. Less than a century from its inception, Nalanda got attacked by the Huna king Mihirakula in the 5th century CE. This attack is a political power conquest. And the second attack on Nalanda comes from King Shashank from the Bengal region. And that's in the 7th century CE. And this is a Hindu-Buddhist conflict. Shashank, as a Hindu king, invaded Nalanda, which was predominantly Buddhist. So this one is a Hindu-Buddhist conflict. In both these attacks, the one by Mihirakula and the one by King Shashank, the knowledge sources were not destroyed. It's a pure political power conquest and a Hindu-Buddhist conflict. But the knowledge sources were not destroyed. The third and the deadliest attack comes from Bhaktiar Khilji in 1200 CE. He massacred people, destroyed the knowledge sources, and burned this Nalanda University down to ashes. And as a quick side note, this timestamp of 1200 CE, this is very important or rather interesting. This is the point in history when we started losing our knowledge sources. Our education systems have been hit, and this is also the same timestamp when Indian knowledge sources started moving towards Europe. That's right. This is when Europe started outphasing the Roman number system and adopting the Hindu numeral system. And that laid the foundation for eventual colonization that we suffered for centuries. But that's a different story. Let's get back to Nalanda. According to ASI, the excavations at Nalanda yielded Buddhist statues of deities like Avalokiteshwara, Manjushri, Tara Devi, etc. and Hindu god statues of Shiva, Vishnu, Ganesh, Surya, etc. So this in brief is about Nalanda. It has been a confluence of both Hindu-Buddhist traditions, predominantly Buddhist, took a deadly attack from Bhaktiar Khilji, and all the knowledge sources burned down to ashes. The biggest problem with our history textbooks is predominantly our history is all about defeat, destruction, and glorification of invaders and colonizers. That does not mean we want jingoistic content. We want truth, absolute truth. This person, Bhaktiar Khilji, who destroyed and ransacked Bengal and Bihar, is resisted in Assam by King Prudhu. Anecdotally, I can say that 95% of us are not aware of how Bhaktiar Khilji met his final fatal end and how fiercely King Prudhu and the tribes of Assam resisted this religious lunatic, Bhaktiar Khilji. We want to learn both the history of how we are defeated and the history of how we resisted. If only one of this being taught, then it's no more an education, but it is just propaganda. The Kanai Barashi rock inscriptions in Guwahati, Assam provides us the hard evidence that shows how Assam resisted this fellow Bhaktiar Khilji. Let's take a quick look into the contents of this rock inscription. And the rock inscription reads like this: Sake Turga Yugmase Madhumase Trayodase Kamarupam Samagatya Turashka Kayamayayu. It is written in Sanskritam using the Assamese script. And the translation is, on the 13th day of Chaitra Masa, in the Shaka era, 1127, the Turks coming into Kamarupa were destroyed here. This rock inscription is found in a place where King Prudhu, king of Assam back then, resisted Bhaktyar Khilji and his army, in which he was badly injured and eventually died. A religious lunatic destroyed Nalanda, and within 2 to 3 years of that heinous event, he was resisted and met his death because of the great king Prudhu. This is the complete history. Rather, I would call it as the hidden history, because this part, or rather this episode of how he was resisted and eventually he died, this part is not told well enough. But the fact that he burned Nalanda, he destroyed Bharat and he defeated Bharat, these kinds of lessons you will find big, bold and bright in our textbooks. Then why these kind of facts are missing? I want you to introspect. I want you to think, and that is the reason why I chose to make this very short video. And the sad part is, there is not much information available other than these rock inscriptions. I'll play a small clip published by the government of Assam. Watch it, and then I'll see you on the other side. As you saw in the video, in the second part of it, there is another inscription, right? The Ahom army versus the Mughal army. So that was about how Lachit Borphukan, an Ahom king, resisted Aurangzeb. Again, the same pattern. Aurangzeb destroyed temples, invaded kingdoms. These kind of history is much more popular than the fact that the Ahom dynasty fiercely resisted Aurangzeb. And this inscription, what you're seeing on the screen, it elaborates about this battle. Both these inscriptions are on the same rock that you saw in the video. Well, I had a question that, in fact I have it still. 500 years and both the invasions of Bhaktyar Khilji as well as Aurangzeb and how they are resisted are engraved on the same rock. I'm sure that rock and that place might have, or rather must have, some sort of significance in Assamese culture. Maybe we don't know that today. Otherwise no one will engrave it, the victories on the same place even after 500 years, right? But anyways, that's not the point. You got the pattern, how we are taught, and I want you to introspect and think why. Why is that the stories about how the Indian kings resisted is not as popular? Not saying it's absolutely not taught, but anyone with common sense can understand that, right? Our stories about defeat are much more popular and we are all taught those stories and not the stories about how we resisted. Are we trying to be non-violent by not telling those stories? All I do care is about truth and truth alone. Rest everything can take a hike. And what I said till now, that we are not taught about the stories of how we resisted, that fact is only 50% of the verse side. Another 50% of the verse side is here what you're seeing on the screen. The nearest railway station to Nalanda University is called as Bhaktyarpur as a token of respect towards Bhaktyar Khilji. So we respect a person who destroyed and burned down to ashes one of the greatest universities in the world back in those times. That person we respect today by honoring him in the name of of this railway station, Bhaktiyarpur Junction. On one side, we don't know the great stories of resistance of our ancestors. Again, I repeat, not jingoism, but the true history about the valor of our ancestors who stood for this country. We don't know about them. And second, we pay huge respect to people who destroyed us. Well, darling, this is called as mental slavery. There are a lot of sensible names that we could give for this railway station. Just giving it as an example. Sariputra. You can name this railway station in the name of Sariputra, the direct disciple of Buddha, born in Nalanda. And that is the prime reason, or rather the only reason, why Nalanda took its birth in that specific place. Or you could rename this station in the name of Kumaragupta, the founder of Nalanda University. Or in the name of Aryabhatta, one of the greatest minds from Bihar as well as from Bharat. He was born near the same place. Of course, he was born in Pataliputra, but he is contemporary to the inception of Nalanda. Or you can name this railway station in the name of Manjushri, who is the goddess of knowledge in Buddhism. Or you can name this railway station in the name of King Prudhu, who avenged for the downfall of Nalanda, of course, protecting his kingdom in Assam. But nonetheless, as a token of respect, we could name this railway station in the name of Prudhu. Sariputra, Kumaragupta, Aryabhatta, Manjushri, Prudhu, these are the sensible names that we could give for this railway station. But no, we love Bhaktiyar Khilji. And I challenge it, propose a change of name for this railway station. If there is no resistance, then it will be eighth wonder in this world. There will definitely be resistance. I don't have to say it any further. And then we have another set of highly educated intellectuals who say that, come on guys, let's talk about development, jobs and progress and trade and this and that. Why do we want to go and make a fuss around these names and all? Well, we want all of that and the truth as well. It may be insignificant for you, but for a significant population, if it is important, let them voice out their opinion and get things done for them in their own interest, which is renaming Bhaktiyar Khilji railway station for one of these 5 options or any other which give a positive vibe about Nalanda, not a negative one like what we have now. Well, that's about it. It's a very quick fact, and I'll leave you up there to introspect and ask certain important questions for ourselves. And most importantly, we need to teach our children truth. And if not, somebody else is always ready to teach them either half truth or total lies. And as always, thanks for watching.